Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unmute's Sneak Peek Part 2. This is a pre-recorded event that will be streamed live April 2nd with a live follow-up artist Q&A and then posted on unmute.nyc. We are in week 7 of this online residency, and we're just touching base in an artist roundtable with half of the teams. We've gathered 5 from Unmute 10002. Please wave to us as I introduce you. Team RAM, Gabriela Gerbitskaita from Lithuania.
Hi.
And Yi Xuan Lai from NYC.
Hi.
Welcome. Team Stream, Marie Lukachova from the Czech Republic.
Hi.
And Emily Shanahan from New York City.
Hello.
Team Branch, Alex Mirutziu from Romania.
Hi, everyone.
And Sydney Shavers from New York City.
Hi.
Team Cloud, Yusima Banaszczyk, also known as Fool from Poland, who could not be here with us today, and Emmanuel Massillon from New York City.
How you doing?
Last but not least, we have Team Key, Sophie Guisset from Wallonia, Belgium, who couldn't be here today, and Will Calhoun from NYC.
Hello, hello. I'm going to try to get outside and suck up some of this vitamin D. How's everybody doing?
Team Branch, how's it going?
Cool. Hi. Okay. It's good. We just entered a new level of our project or a new phase of our project. We're thinking a lot about, there's been a lot of process happening in terms of getting to this point, and a lot of language choosing and this idea of like chance and like fluxus and flux and we're kind of going back and forth and kind of creating pieces that way. Alex, if you want to jump in and.
Hi. Yeah, it's been quite a few interesting weeks, a couple of interesting weeks, and yeah, I think we started from language, let's say, and our discussion kind of revolved around notions around language, and maybe language as capital, and then we insisted, I think, at some point at the performative aspect of our practices, and we were thinking of not, so we were careful of not removing or detaching from this performative thing that we both share. And yeah, we talked about many things, but
Kim Kardashian.
yeah, it's one of the things.
Our process has been really interesting. Like we're pulling from like technology and like media sources. So there's like a game that Kanye and Kim were playing, like in an episode of Keeping Up. And they like take a Webster's dictionary and they go through all of the definitions on a page and decide if the word is like positive or negative. So we kind of took that aspect and filtered it like 5 times, and like this idea of like a common language, right, is kind of at work, and popular language and the way that words have kind of like evolved. So we picked acquit at some point, right, and then it kind of has evolved since then. But yeah.
Team Cloud, how's your project developing? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, our project is developing very well. We had some issues like communication and just my partner being in Poland and me being in America, and time difference and language barrier. We got a new system of communication going on, so everything's good. So basically, we're still in the idea stage, but we just now started getting into like the more physical aspect. So we started our conversation on the idea of like, since we're from 2 different backgrounds and 2 different parts of the world, what's some similarities that both our cultures have that we can make work about? So for my partner being from Poland, She was interested in like the witch hunts in like the early 1300s, 1500s, and she was asking me about like how is crime in like America, and her experience and how media portrays both of our countries. And so we were interested in those ideas. So we started recording, footage from our own environments and planning to incorporate it into a video. My partner also does like industrial sound, she's an industrial sound producer, and I also produce music. So we're planning to like, incorporate sounds of both our environments to make kind of a soundtrack along with a video with like found objects. Because in my own work, in my sculptural practice, I use work with found objects. So kind of using that same language into video and technology to talk about how both cultures are perceived in the media internationally. In regards to like sexism, race, violence, etc. So it is a very much lot of complex topics that we're trying to condense into a 10-minute video. And then one of the biggest problems we have too is kind of like editing the sound and video like back and forth, like in real time. So it's gonna be a lot of back and forth to get to the level of satisfaction we both would like. So that's it.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And now a brief recording from Justina, also known as Fool, who couldn't be here today.
Hi guys, it's Justina from Team Cloud here. I'm sorry that I couldn't join our group meeting, but I have been a little bit sick and felt very tired last Friday, and I just felt that I need a break and self-care and stuff like that, especially that in Poland the pandemic situation is getting very hard and it's all very stressful, and views for the close future are not so bright. I just wanted to tell you that I am working on our project with Emmanuel. Right now I am focusing on the sonification parts. I am collecting images of writings on the walls in Poland, which were created during the protests. It's kind of funny because the Minister of Justice in Poland have created a report collecting all those images from all around the country. So I am just using this report as my source material for the sonification, which is kind of interesting in my opinion. We have also idea for the title of our work, but I think we will reveal it when the time comes. I think that's it for now. And I hope I will be able to join our group meeting next time. Thanks, and I hope you are all okay, guys. And we should all just try to relax and look into the future, which will come sooner or later. Bye.
Team Ram, how's it going for you?
Me and then Gabby, I'm very happy to be with Gabby as my teammate. It's like we talk about how amazing that I never see Gabby in person before, but how trustful and intimate that, because we see each other once every week, sometimes 2 times in a week. So we kind of dig into each other's project, and we pick up topics of prosthetic as this idea that we want to work a project together. So if Gabby wanna also talk about how you think about this project that we gonna do together.
Like I'm feeling like really relaxing and like having fun with you. And even if we are talking about serious things, we really like the idea is to make it more playful, and how to speak about serious things in playfulness. So yeah, I wish was to have fun.
So, so we kind of talk a lot more about like the invisibility and the visibility from how we feel, the feelings of fragility or intimacy, and what we need. And we want to use prosthetic as an idea, not only try to fixing something what we feel vulnerable about, but also as an extra power that what we can become. So I'm really excited with Gabby to collaborate this project.
Team Stream, how's it going?
I think it's cool. It's cool. I take it like a personal psychotherapy, which is every week. And it's really nice to talk with Emily every week. And the two last meeting, maybe we started creating something. So it's also nice, but it's really helpful for me to talk about the situation around us and compare it. And yeah. So that's nice. I don't know, Emily, if you want
Yeah. No, it's been so nice to like learn more about Marie's practice. We started with just like, sharing each other's work and trying to maybe think about like what are some points of connection. And I guess it was like 3 weeks ago, like I shared a video I had done, and there was that song, the Alexa song. It was a song generated by an AI, and that got us talking about like sound a bit more. And Marie also works with sound and music a lot, so we're just trying to like bounce this idea around of maybe like leading with sound in the project, especially because it seems like we're just so like visually exhausted, all the time, like even more so now, like we're so saturated with visual images. And so we've been like, talking about maybe trying to like have sound be the priority. So we're still working through, I think, like what that might sound like. And we've just started like collecting sounds from our studios or like our domestic spaces. And I think because we've been like inviting each other into our spaces every week, we're sort of collecting sounds from those immediate environments. So I think we're still like in the process, like research stage, and it'll definitely be developing over the next few weeks. And we're talking about maybe collaborating on a drawing collage as well, to sort of have a still image to kind of ground those sounds.
Yeah. Thank you very much for describing that. And actually we also tried to create some picture for this voice together by the collages and drawings and yeah.
Thank you, Team Stream. And last but not least, for today representing Team Key, Will.
It's going fantastic. Sophie's my partner. It's been great to link up with her. A few little timing issues because I guess she's living between Berlin and Brussels. So she travels back and forth. There is a Euro East Coast American time difference. So there are a few things that are going back and forth between us two, but the conversations have been fun. Some of the things have been recorded, some haven't, because sometimes we get into politics a little bit and life and art and the politics within life and art. So I find her to be very interesting. She has a great point of view. I think she's a free thinker, kind of in a sense of expressing herself as an artist, which is how I live my life. So we get along completely on the same page in that aspect. we're going to begin to, my idea with Sophie was to think about our art maybe as you would, if I look at linguistics, we're going to just do a word. Like she's going to send me a movement and I'm going to send a beat or a sound. And the movement can be a hand or a flower in the garden or something. We want to start small and just think about what kind of a movement. And then we want to expand on it maybe and say, okay, send me 5 minutes of movement or send me 3 minutes of movement. And then I'll send you 3 minutes of sound. So instead of trying to, with this limited amount of time, kind of invade each other's creative spaces, we're kind of almost playing Scrabble a little bit, where we're just putting words together and sounds and ideas together. And we're just going to throw them back and forth in really small bits. So we're not pushing each other's agenda so much. We want to really try to go into this with the really fair spiritual market value of her sending something or me sending her something and saying, here's a sound, here's a guitar riff, here's a keyboard thing, here's even the sound of like a brook or a stream, being in traffic. What kind of movement would you match to this? And I think we're going to start to build tiny sentences of these kind of ideas. And then when we have a couple of sentences, we'll start to look more at honing in on how we want to move forward on the project. But that's our process. Instead of saying, I'm a musician, she's a dancer, I toured here, she's done 15, choreography shows, and kind of coming into it that way. We want to keep it a little bit more honest and fun and open, and just not go into it with a typical my resume, your resume. And I think my idea was just start with small bits, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds of something. Let me put something to that and vice versa. And it's more fun. It's more creative that way. And I think it takes, for me, personally, one of the things we talked about, we don't want to come into this project the way we do everything else. That's kind of the idea too. We don't want to come into this like, I always score, I always compose, I always play this instrument. We trying to, this is a great opportunity, I think, to creatively create outside the box. So that's what we're using this opportunity to try to do. So I'm having fun. She has a great sense of humor, very easy to chat with. And she's open, so I can kind of throw almost anything at her, and she's gonna be like, okay, cool, let me try this, let me try that. So, and then she interviewed me, which was kind of funny. She asked me things like, do I dance? And I thought that was interesting when we first met. She kind of gave me like a little interview, and why are you a musician, or why are you? But I understood where she was coming from. She was just trying to get, I guess, kind of a bit of a gander on my creative background. But that was a little funny for me the first time we met, how she had these questions about what inspires me to do what I do. So from the first interview to now, we've come quite a good distance. And she has a great sense of humor, as I like to joke. So it's coming out great. And I think we're going to have something unique. And my goal is for us to do something that's not compares to anything that she or I have done on our own.
Great. Thanks so much, Will. And now a brief recording from Sophie, who couldn't be here with us today.
So for me, it was I was really curious to meet Will. And of course, the first Zoom session that we had, just the two of us, was really special. Because we come from two different countries. We have two different age. I'm 34 and I think he's 55. I think it's going well. I get along really well with Will. He's full of surprise. Also, he's a drummer and I'm a performance artist. So we are like now in the process of getting to know each other and discover each other's practice and backgrounds. Of course, the easy thing would be, because he's a drummer and I'm a performance artist, to compose like music and me performing on it. But this will not happen. This I know, because I don't want this to happen. I actually want to talk and to discover Will in another way, just to find like a common ground, which is different from maybe from my practice and from his practice. I want us to meet in a new place for both of us.
So I'm going to open this up a little bit to a question for the whole group, because I think that there's a couple of things that I see a connection with all of you. There's and it's different from the prior 5 teams, which is kind of unique. But you're all sort of dealing with these really slippery concepts, these objects or concepts that are non-tangible even. Do you think that these sorts of really non-tangible subject matter or concepts are actually more dictated with the fact that you have to use something like Zoom as a means for communication? I'm just going to open that up, and anybody is welcome to answer.
Yeah, I'll answer. I'll start by saying it's Zoom. It's challenging. You don't see the person. You're not in the same room. I think when it comes to art, I'm a musician and I'm a drummer, and vibration, people's mannerisms, how they talk, how they move, all of those things can give me information faster than a flat screen. The sound is coming out of a phone or a computer. So in terms of the academic influence of a voice, or it's not realistic. It's kind of like a machine. So it's kind of like listening to a record or a phonograph or something where it's kind of set up to sound a certain way. So just being a sound freak, for me, there's a lot of unnatural sides to communicating on Zoom. It's great. It's a great piece of technology, obviously, and we're in a pandemic. But if I had the choice of sitting down with Sophie in a room or at a coffee shop or something like that, or in a recording studio or anywhere, I think we would be way much further down the line with the creativity piece. Because I think as humans, we just read things. We're just human beings, and we read things as human beings. We read things as sound and smells and tones and body movement and language. And I think this format homogenizes that experience.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was just gonna chime in, and I agree with Will. It's total. I've never collaborated in this way before, and I think, yeah, it's a double process of like getting to know each other, right? Like first and foremost, just as a person, and then also getting to know the work, and then like, okay, how can we work together? So I think, it's just been like a very unique experience. And I think we're maybe just trying to find a way that like we can collaborate that makes sense and that will result in something that feels like satisfying to us. And so, it's going well, but it's definitely a very, very unique circumstances for sure to be creative.
Yeah. I think that this project is really cool and that I feel like it's really fitting for this format. Just because this idea of like mediation or like translation that's like embedded in technology is something that we, so it's just like a very like it's a one-to-one, not a one-to-one, but kind of like an experience. Like it's very much involves like the slippage that I think all of our projects have in it because like it's being informed by that. Like we're definitely being informed by that, but also just like this idea of I don't know, just this idea of like the slippage of it all, or this mediation and this like transformation, or like even like the idea of the glitch, or this idea of things like not being perfect, so, or translated perfectly. So
for me, I feel like it's this whatever the topics we are talking about is like, I feel like I need to be super sensitive, like to be sensitive to my partner, to others, like how to say things, how to explain, how to show, how to listen. Like it's also big tolerance to each other, and that can be challenging for some, but really, really interesting.
Look, I kind of, with me and Gabby, we kind of create a online platform called Miro. So on Zoom, we share this, we will share the screen, and then Gabby also have the access on this platform, and we kind of putting our thoughts, keywords, ideas, and or also our past work in there. I feel it's a kind of digitalized way to really make our mindset and thoughts visually present in a space, digital space. And I think that's interesting.
Sorry, Marie had to leave already. I'm going to ask that everybody has their chat open. And I'm going to ask that you type into the chat the first word that comes to mind when I actually give you a word. So this word, and then we'll sort of expand on it. The word is analog.
Well, I put warm because analog academically was designed for the human ear. The machines that were built originally for sound with analog systems were built for the shape of our eardrums and how our bodies work. Scientists at that time designing the sound that was geared to how we exist. So digital has another kind of approach to it. So for me, warm just means accepting and expansive and kind of free in a way. And I look at analog as something that it kind of has a back to basics. It kind of has a real organic feel. If I could think about it in family terms for those that listen, it would be the difference between eating dinner at your house that you make, eating dinner at your parents' house that they make, and eating dinner at your grandparents' house. Analog for me would be eating dinner at my grandparents' house. It just has another kind of a time period, if that makes sense to anybody out there. But when I think about when my grandparents passed, but when I remember going to eating there, it was like another level and a different type of love and concern and the energy. Let's just say the energy going into those meals were not like any other place I've been. So there's definitely a difference between those three. So if I can give you a visual, that's my visual.
Yeah, it seems like in a lot of these words, there's this idea of like physicality that we all are trying to like grasp at in different ways. And it's really interesting to see like the different turns that all takes. But also like this idea of like filling, I don't know, with the word like content or, something stuffed or something that, like very physical, like material. Yes.
I chose the word computer. This is what I heard about the word analog. I thought about computer, and the analog computer was one of the first computers built to like solve problems, and then that inspired other scientists to talk about like algorithms. And now I think about how algorithms control most of our lives. Like there's an app that has an algorithm for everything. They say even like the GPS running on algorithm. Like if there's an accident on the road, there's an algorithm that can give you the fastest route. There's an algorithm that can tell you what's the likelihood of you being depressed on Facebook. And just, I don't know, this is a control about how all these giant tech conglomerates have over our lives, and they're collecting all this data and feeding it to these computers. So that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Emily, I like how you wrote an abacus. Can you, some people might not know what an abacus is.
I didn't even know that I thought about abacuses. I don't know why that word came into my head, but I think when I hear analog, I just, like, to me, I don't know if this is correct, but I just think like old technology or like older, simpler forms of technology, like older tools. So I don't know, my brain went there. I think of it as like the opposite of something like speedy or fast or like shiny or new. Like I think of it as old and not ancient, but like something foundational maybe.
Okay, let's do one more word. Thank you. Yesterday's team had 2 different words, by the way, than you guys are getting. The next word, and get ready for your chat. And Yishuan, I hope you'll put something down because I see you didn't write anything. The next word is digital. Does anybody want to expand?
I chose communication, like when it first came to mind. This, it's ironic because we're all communicating virtually, digitally, or but it's interested in how, even on Instagram, you might meet someone that you might share common interests, and you guys start talking, and you guys become friends, and you're communicating with them, or you might be doing a business deal with someone via email, and you guys are virtual. You know what I'm saying? And this how just how technology allows you to communicate with people all across the world. It just fascinates me.
I read about hard drive because it's just a hard drive running in front of me, like get this heat and then the sound. But imagine how this hard drive stores that kind of invisible information and data, but actually they are really there. Like this kind of also invisibility and the visible thing, kind of this relationship in digital space.
Yeah, I kind of was thinking along those lines as well. I picked reality. Just because I agree. I think there's this idea that the digital space isn't real or exists in like a different realm, but it is a very like physical, like real thing or real experience. And yeah, just that idea of it being like present, like even though it's technically, yeah, invisible.
I chose the like without smell or so I was feeling like like when you meet another person in person, you can smell it, there. And in a digital, in our conversations, I even don't know how you smell. So for me, it was like this.
There's some really nice parallels when you were all talking about this, because my mind always goes to nature with analog, and how a lot of these words actually have that sort of binary. We could replace it with another word. I'm going to ask you all one more question as a group. Does any of your work, especially as we're dealing with things that are really slippery like this, does any of it become political?
My answer is yes.
Definitely. Yeah, language is how we shape everything. And so it's inherently political. Yeah, like words, their meanings only are created through like, and I think this is something our project, like we're thinking about a lot, is the action and like the idea of a concept.
I think we got it. You are halfway through the project. Congrats. Give yourselves a round of applause. We look forward to seeing what else unfolds. And now we're going to go to the live Q&A.